5 separate attacks in Mali and neighboring Niger have exposed regional security failings, according to Mauritanian president. At least 25 people have been killed since Friday. The G5 force formed to tackle security challenges in the Sahel region faces funding problems and lack of equipment. Meeting the leaders of the 5-nation African Anti-Terror Unit, French President Emmanuel Macron pledged more support.
I'd like to repeat here that it's African citizens who are affected by terrorists every time. And I also reiterate the full and entire commitment of France, and in particular our military, to Operation Barkhane in support of the fight against terrorism.
The G5 Sahel force aims to have a total of 5,000 troops from 5 nations, including Burkina Faso, Chad, Mali, Mauritania and Niger. Meanwhile, the African Union has endorsed Rwandan Foreign Minister Louis Mushikwabo to head the International Organization of La Francophonie. This is despite her country's decision to prioritize English as an official language a decade ago. The RIF comprises 84 states and observers. Cham Hono, CGTN.
Well, let's go live to Deji Badmus, who is live for us in Lagos. Deji, what's the main agenda of the visit to Nigeria by the French president?
Well, Karen, what we know is that the president, of course, would meet with President of France now would meet with President Buhari, and on the agenda would be security. I mean, following up from the AU summit, and of course the issue of the Sahel, of course, we expect to come up during that meeting. And of course, Nigeria's fight against Boko Haram for quite a while now, for several years, I should say. France has been quite supportive of Nigeria's effort in the fight against Boko Haram. In 2014, it hosted a summit now on Boko Haram that Nigeria attended. So we expect that the discussion will center on security. And one other issue, of course, that the talks would center on would be culture and creativity, because other than visiting President Buhari, the French president would be coming to Lagos, where there's a huge cultural event taking place, and he would be attending that event. So, and we expect that a number of MOUs now will be signed between both countries, but we do not know, of course, but no doubt at all that both sides now will want to use this to discuss security and then promote cultural exchanges between both countries. Karen?
Okay, well, let's talk about the status of bilateral ties between France and Nigeria. How will Nigeria be looking to benefit from this visit by Emmanuel Macron?
First, I must say Nigeria benefits a lot from the bilateral ties between France and Nigeria, and that bilateral tie, I must say, is quite strong. You look at the trade relations between both countries. As at 2017, it was estimated at about 3-something billion euros. So Nigeria, it's the leading trading partner, as a matter of fact, of France in sub-Saharan Africa. And no question, Nigeria would want to leverage on that and use this visit now to see if it can improve bilateral trade relations now with France. And other than that, culture as well is very important. You talk about cultural exchanges. We've seen a lot of cultural exchanges now between both countries, but Nigeria would be hoping to use this visit now to boost tourism, especially for a city like Lagos. I mean, the Lagos state government, for instance, is part of the organizers of this event in Lagos, and so the state government is hoping to take advantage of this visit now to boost tourism, attract people from France to come to Lagos to see the culture and the booming Nollywood industry in this part of the world. So no question at all that Nigeria would want to take advantage of this visit to improve, not just improve now, but to further boost relations with France. But most importantly, that trade relations, Nigeria, of course, will be seeking to ensure that it goes up. Other than the export of petroleum, Nigeria basically exports almost nothing to France. So Nigeria would be hoping, probably looking at, exporting I'm talking about non-oil products now to France, and basically build up that trade relations so that it favors the country.
Okay, so we're talking about trade relations there. Let's talk a bit about security. France has troops stationed in West Africa, some of whom recently came under direct fire from militants. What kind of support might France be looking to get from Nigeria?
At this point, it's difficult to tell what kind of support France might be needing from Nigeria. I mean, France's troop is actually stationed in the Sahel. And of course, we know the problem with the Sahel, what Islamist groups like Al-Qaeda, for instance, the kind of threat now they are posing in the Sahel. But Nigeria, the sub-Saharan, I mean, the Sahara has also got its own problem as well with Boko Haram. And Boko Haram is causing a lot of havoc in this part of the continent. So rather than say what what France might be seeking, the kind of assistance might be seeking from Nigeria, I think Nigeria would want to use this opportunity to basically get France to up its support in its fight against the Boko Haram insurgency. No doubt at all. The Sahel, not quite long ago, I think a few weeks ago, Nigeria actually hosted a joint meeting now between the Sahel and the Sahara. Nigeria has been quite supportive of the fight against terrorism in the Sahel, but I don't think at this point Nigeria can do much, because what it has on its hand, it's also very, very serious. I'm talking about Boko Haram. Nigeria is part of the multinational joint task force, so the expectation is that probably President Buhari would use this opportunity now to ask France to provide more support now for the MNJTF now, the same way it is supporting the G5 task force now in the Sahel. Karen?
Okay, thank you very much for that, Deji. That was Deji Badmus for us in Lagos discussing the visit by French President Emmanuel Macron to Nigeria.